I've met someone else, Ethan. This marriage is over. Grace's voice cut through the hum of Magnolia's restaurant in Charleston like a knife right after the shrimp and grits hit the table. The whole family froze. Liam's crayon stopped mid-stroke. Ella's big eyes went wide. Janet's fake smile cracked, and even Walter's fork hung in the air. Grace stared straight at me, chin high, waiting for me to beg or blow up in front of her parents and our kids. Instead, I reached into my blazer, pulled out the thick manila envelope I'd carried for 3 days, and slid it across the white tablecloth. "Open it," I said, calm as the bourbon in my glass. Grace tore it open. The color drained from her face faster than a Phoenix sunset. Her hands shook so bad the papers rattled. "What? What is this?" she whispered, voice cracking. "Divorce papers," I answered. "Filed 4 days ago in Maricopa County, and everything else you never thought I'd find out." I watched her flip pages. Photos of her tangled up with Kyle the trainer at the Arizona Biltmore. Texts to Derek in Tempe, promising forever. Hotel receipts with Brad the tech guy who flew in every other week. Then the bank statements. $214,000 siphoned out of our joint accounts into secret ones under her mother's name. Janet, sitting right there, pretending to sip sweet tea. Janet's mouth dropped open like a trapdoor. "I didn't—" "Yes, you did," I cut in. "Your signatures on every account opening form. Olivia, my private investigator, pulled them straight from the bank." Walter snatched the papers, face turning purple as the accountant in him saw the fraud clear as day. Grace looked like she'd been gut-punched. "You can't," she started. "I already did," I said. "All accounts frozen this morning. You've got zero access, and I filed for full custody. Judges in Arizona don't look kindly on moms who blow marital money on Tag Heuer watches for their boyfriends." The kids were crying now, but Grace had picked this stage, this fancy dinner, her parents watching, our children listening, to drop her bomb. So I dropped mine, but I wasn't done. There was more buried in that envelope, stuff that would make what came next look like mercy. Fast forward 3 months. Grace thought rock bottom was that restaurant table. She was wrong. One October evening back in Phoenix, a knock at my door. Derek, affair number 2, stood on my porch looking sick. "Grace is pregnant," he blurted. "She told everyone it's mine. It's not. Paternity test proved it. And Ethan, it's not yours either." The ground tilted under me. We hadn't slept together in almost a year. Derek kept going. "She's telling courts and friends you abandoned her while she's pregnant and scared. She's weaponizing the baby for sympathy money." I thanked him, barely, and shut the door. Next morning, my attorney Catherine filed for a court-ordered paternity test. Grace fought it like a wildcat, screaming invasion of privacy. Judge Hernandez, a no-nonsense 60-something from Tucson, granted it anyway. Results came back right before Thanksgiving. The father was Brad, the traveling tech consultant. Except Brad had ghosted, deleted LinkedIn, changed his number, vanished to Austin like the coward he was. Grace was 5 months along, alone. And now the entire court knew she'd tried to pin paternity on 2 different men to squeeze cash. But the real gut punch, the one nobody saw coming, hit at the final divorce hearing in December. Grace waddled in, belly out to hear, playing the poor, pregnant victim in a cheap black dress. Her strip mall lawyer begged for mercy, half the assets, unsupervised visits. Catherine stood up, cool as Camelback Mountain shade, and dropped the hammer nobody expected. Not only had Grace drained our accounts, she'd used marital funds to set up a secret college fund, $50,000, for the unborn baby under Janet's name again, planning to claim it was for the kids later. Bank records, timestamps, emails to a financial planner. All uncovered when Olivia hacked Grace's forgotten iCloud backup during one of her girls' nights. Judge Hernandez's face turned to stone. Mrs. Brooks, you didn't just betray your husband. You tried to steal from your own children's future while sleeping with 3 different men. This court has seen greed, but this level of calculated deceit is rare. She awarded me the house in Scottsdale, both cars, every investment account, full custody. Grace got supervised visits every other weekend, a repayment order for $264,000 with interest, and a warning that one missed payment meant jail time for fraud. Janet took a plea to avoid felony charges and testified against her own daughter. Walter walked out of the courthouse without looking back. Grace gave birth alone in April to a little girl named Sophie. No Brad, no family at the hospital, no money for a decent apartment. She works 2 jobs, retail and nights bartending in Tempe, while Sophie stays with a sitter Grace can barely afford. The kids and I? We're thriving. Liam's hitting home runs, Ella's dancing again, and Scout, our golden retriever, owns the backyard. We took them to San Diego last summer, built sandcastles till sunset, and they told me, Dad, we're glad it's just us. Grace gambled a 23-year marriage, our kids' security, and every dollar I earned for late-night hotel rooms and empty promises. She lost everything. I didn't destroy her. She did that herself. I just made sure she couldn't drag us down with her. What would you have done at that Charleston dinner table? Explode in front of the kids, or stay ice cold and hand her the envelope like I did? Drop your thoughts below. I read every one. And if these real-life revenge stories hit you in the gut like they hit me, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. These things happen every single day. And the payback is always sweeter than you think. You stole from your own kids, Grace? A secret college fund for a baby that isn't even mine, while Liam and Ella's real savings sat untouched? My voice echoed through the packed Maricopa County courtroom in downtown Phoenix that cold December morning in 2020, the day Grace thought she could still play the victim card. She sat there, 7 months pregnant, in a wrinkled black dress from Target, eyes down, while Judge Hernandez stared at her like she was something stuck on the bottom of her shoe. The gallery, packed with my coworkers from commercial real estate deals, a couple of Grace's old book club friends who'd turned on her, and even Walter, her own father, in the back row looking like he'd aged 10 years, went dead silent. Grace's strip mall lawyer was sweating bullets, trying to spin it as planning for the future. Catherine, my attorney, wasn't having it. She clicked the remote, and up on the big screen flashed the emails Olivia had pulled from Grace's iCloud. Grace telling the financial planner, "Make sure Ethan never sees this. It's for my new life." Another one to Brad, the ghost dad, bragging she'd secured the bag before he bailed to Austin. The worst? A text chain with Janet plotting to blame me if the money ever got discovered. We'll say Ethan was abusive and controlling. Judges eat that up. Janet, sitting 2 rows behind Grace, let out a choked sob. She'd already flipped, took a plea deal, testified against her own daughter to dodge felony fraud charges. Walter wouldn't even look at either of them anymore. He'd moved to a condo in Sun City West, playing golf every day just to stay sane. But the real bombshell, the one that made the bailiff's jaw drop and had reporters scribbling like mad, was still coming. Catherine turned to the judge. Your Honor, we have one final piece of evidence obtained legally from Mrs. Brooks' phone backup. She hit play on an audio file. Grace's voice, clear as day, from a drunk voicemail she'd left Kyle the trainer 6 months ago. Once the divorce money hits, I'm done with the kids too. Liam's getting mouthy. Ella's clingy. New baby, new life, right? You and me in Vegas, baby. No baggage. The courtroom erupted in gasps. Liam and Ella weren't there, thank God. But the thought that their own mother had planned to ditch them for a gym rat made my blood turn to ice. Grace lunged forward. That's taken out of context, she screamed, tears streaming. Judge Hernandez banged the gavel so hard I thought it would crack. Order! Mrs. Brooks, sit down. I've heard enough. Ruling came fast and brutal. Full custody to me. No appeal bond. Supervised visits cut to once a month at a county facility. Repayment jumped to $314,000 with 9% interest, and a criminal referral to the Maricopa County Attorney for felony theft from minors. Because part of the stolen money had come from the kids' 529 college plans I'd been funding since they were born. Grace was escorted out in tears. Janet followed, head down. Walter caught my eye on the way out, gave a small nod, like a man who'd finally accepted his daughter was a stranger. Fast forward to December 17th, 2023. Today. Grace gave birth last week to little Sophie in a county hospital, alone except for a social worker. Brad's still hiding in Austin. Kyle ghosted to California after his gym fired him for sleeping with clients. And Derek got married last month to a nice girl from Mesa who has no idea about his past. Grace lives in a rundown one-bedroom off Apache Boulevard in Tempe, working double shifts at a Ross Dress for Less in a bar on Mill Avenue. The first garnishment hit her paycheck yesterday. She called crying, begging for mercy. I told her to talk to the judge. Meanwhile, Liam just turned 10. We threw a blowout party at Peter Piper Pizza. 20 kids, unlimited tokens, the works. Ella's dance team took first at regionals in Tucson. Scout's grown into a big, goofy golden who sleeps across both their beds. And me? I closed the biggest strip mall deal of my career last month, $28 million, on Camelback and 44th Street. Took the commission and paid cash for a family trip to Hawaii over Christmas. Just the three of us, plus Scout staying with Walter. Last night, Ella hugged me tight before bed and whispered, Dad, you're the best mom and dad ever. That hit harder than any courtroom win. Grace thought she could trade our family for thrills and cash. She lost everything. Her kids' trust, her parents' respect, her freedom to even see Liam and Ella without a supervisor watching her every move. I didn't have to lift a finger to destroy her life. She did it swing by swing, lie by lie. What would you have done if you heard that voicemail in open court? Your spouse planning to abandon your kids for a new life. Stay calm like I did, or lose it right there. Drop your raw thoughts below. And if these real-life stories of betrayal and hard-won justice leave you shaking, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. These nightmares happen in quiet suburbs every single day, and the comeback is always worth the wait. Did you really think you could sell my kids to the highest bidder, Grace? My words thundered through the Maricopa County Superior Court in Phoenix on March 15, 2021. 3 months after Grace thought her life had already hit rock bottom. She sat at the defense table, Sophie, now 4 months old, in the arms of a court-appointed guardian, face gaunt from sleepless nights and double shifts. Her eyes widened in pure terror as Catherine clicked the projector remote and the screen lit up with the smoking gun nobody saw coming. Over the past month, Olivia, my private investigator, had kept digging. What she uncovered would make any parent's blood run cold. Grace hadn't just stolen money for hotels and watches. She'd been secretly negotiating with a shady adoption broker out of Las Vegas. Emails, recorded calls, even a $50,000 wire transfer from the hidden college fund to place Sophie for private adoption the minute the baby was born. The buyer, a wealthy couple from Scottsdale who'd been on waiting lists for years. Grace's plan: pocket $150,000 cash under the table, tell the courts the baby was Brad's and he'd taken her, then disappear to California with whatever was left, leaving Liam and Ella forever wondering why Mom vanished. The courtroom exploded. Reporters gasped. The bailiff had to bang for order twice. Walter, in the back again, stood up and walked out without a word. He was done. Janet wasn't even allowed in the building anymore after her probation violation. Grace screamed, "It's fake! She's lying!" But Catherine played the audio. Grace's own voice, cold and calculating. The older two are too attached to Ethan anyway. A clean break is better. New baby, new money, new me. Judge Hernandez's face went white with rage. "Mrs. Brooks, you attempted to traffic your own infant for profit while stealing from your other children. This isn't divorce drama. This is felony child endangerment and attempted unlawful adoption." She revoked all visitation immediately, issued a bench warrant for the broker in Vegas, and referred Grace for immediate criminal prosecution. Sophie was placed in emergency foster care pending a full DCS investigation, with me filing for temporary guardianship the same afternoon. But the final twist, the one that left Grace sobbing on the floor as deputies cuffed her, was this: the wealthy Scottsdale couple she'd been negotiating with. Undercover agents from the Arizona Attorney General's Human Trafficking Task Force. Olivia had tipped them off weeks earlier. The entire sting had been recorded. Grace had walked straight into it, thinking she was finally going to cash out. By April 2024, Grace was indicted on 7 felonies: theft, fraud, attempted unlawful adoption, conspiracy, and child endangerment. She took a plea to avoid decades in prison, 8 years in Perryville Women's Facility, no parole for 5. Janet got 2 years probation extension and community service. The Vegas broker got 15. Sophie, the judge granted me permanent guardianship in June. Liam and Ella met their little sister for the first time at a supervised visit in July. Ella held her and whispered, "We've got you now." We officially adopted Sophie in September 2024. She's 2 now, toddling around our Scottsdale backyard with Scout, calling me Dada, and the big kids her heroes. Grace writes letters from prison, apologies, excuses, pleas for photos. I read them once, then file them away for the kids to decide when they're older. They don't ask about her anymore. I closed another record deal last month, a $45 million office park on Loop 101. Took the bonus and put it straight into 3 college funds that nobody will ever touch but Liam, Ella, and Sophie. Grace thought she could sell our family piece by piece. She ended up losing every single piece, including the one she tried to auction off last. I didn't have to chase her down. Justice did it for me. What would you have felt hearing your spouse on tape planning to sell your newborn and ghost your other kids forever? Pure rage or ice-cold resolve like I chose? Tell me your gut reaction below. I read every comment, and if these real-life nightmares of betrayal and epic courtroom justice hit you right in the chest, smash subscribe and turn on notifications. These horrors happen in quiet American suburbs every day, and sometimes the payback is bigger than anyone dares to dream. You tried to frame me for abusing our kids, Grace, just to get out of prison early. My voice boomed across the visitation room at Perryville Women's Prison outside Phoenix on a scorching July afternoon in 2023, 2 years into Grace's 8-year sentence. She sat behind the scratched plexiglass in her orange jumpsuit, Sophie's photo clutched in her shaking hands, eyes wild with fake tears. But I wasn't there for a family reunion. I was there to watch her final house of cards collapse in real time. Grace had gone lower than anyone thought possible. From her cell, she'd teamed up with a notorious inmate named Carla, a lifer from Tucson convicted of forging evidence in custody battles, and a sleazy parole consultant out of Glendale. Their plan? Fabricate a bombshell abuse allegation against me. Fake medical reports claiming old bruises on Liam and Ella from years ago. Doctored photos from a shady app. Even coerced letters from Sophie's old foster mom saying she'd overheard me yelling. All timed for Grace's parole hearing in August, painting me as the monster to snatch back custody and reduce her sentence for protecting the kids. But Olivia never stopped watching. She'd bugged the consultant's office with court approval after a tip from prison intel. We had everything. Recorded calls of Grace laughing, "Ethan will lose everything this time," the house in Scottsdale, the kids, his real estate license. I'll walk free and sue him for millions. Carla chiming in. Add some sexual abuse claims too. Judges freak over that. The consultant bragging he'd done it before for clients in Mesa and Flagstaff. The parole board hearing hit like a Category 5 hurricane. Packed room in downtown Phoenix. Reporters from Channel 12 and AZ Family. Walter in the front row looking broken. My kids safe at home with a sitter. Grace shuffled in shackles, playing the reformed mom. Her public defender started the sob story. Then Catherine stood up with a stack of drives and dropped the nuke. Audio played loud. Grace's voice plotting every lie. Videos of her coaching Carla on details. Bank records showing she'd smuggled $5,000 in prison commissary cash to pay the consultant. Money from Janet's final desperate wire before she overdosed on pills last year in her Sun City apartment, leaving a note blaming herself for raising a monster. The board went ballistic. Parole denied. Sentence extended 3 more years for conspiracy and evidence tampering. New charges filed. Perjury, attempted fraud on the court, witness intimidation. Carla got solitary. The consultant arrested in the parking lot as he tried to flee to Vegas. Grace collapsed screaming as guards dragged her away. He deserved it. He took my life. The room fell silent except for camera shutters. Today, December 2024, Grace is still inside, facing 11 years total now. Janet's gone. Walter visits us for holidays in our bigger house off Camelback Mountain. I closed a $60 million resort deal in Sedona last spring and upgraded for the kids. Liam's 13, pitching varsity baseball like a pro. Ella's 11, starring in school plays and piano recitals. Sophie's 4, calls Ella Sissy and Liam Bubba. Thinks Scout is her personal pony. We spent Thanksgiving at the Grand Canyon again, just the 5 of us, watching the sunset paint the rims gold. Grace's letters stopped coming. Good riddance. She didn't just betray a husband. She tried to sell a baby, abandon her older kids, steal their future, and finally frame an innocent father for horrors no parent can imagine, all from behind bars. Pure evil wrapped in excuses. I didn't chase this downfall. I just protected what was mine. And justice finished the job. What would you have done, walking into that prison, knowing your ex was plotting the ultimate lie to destroy you and take your kids? Kept your cool like I did, or lost it completely? Spill your raw feelings below. I read them all. And if these gut-wrenching true stories of family betrayal and total justice leave you speechless, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. These nightmares play out in American homes every single day. And the sweet victory at the end is always worth the fight. She escaped prison and showed up at my kid's school with a gun, screaming my name. That's what the 911 call from Scottsdale's Chaparral High School principal reported on a crisp October morning in 2025. 4 years after Grace's sentence was supposed to keep her locked away forever. Sirens wailed across the valley as parents flooded the parking lot in panic. Grace, gaunt and wild-eyed in a stolen hoodie, had slipped out during a minimum security work detail near Buckeye, driven a hijacked pickup 90 miles east, and stormed the campus looking for Liam, now 16 and a junior varsity quarterback, and Ella, 14, cheering at the pep rally with little Sophie, 7, visiting for Big Sister Day. Security footage later showed her waving a .38 revolver smuggled in by Carla's old prison contacts, yelling, "Ethan stole my babies! I'm taking them back today!" Kids dove under bleachers. Teachers barricaded doors. Liam grabbed Ella and Sophie, shielding them behind the band equipment while texting me, "Dad, Mom's here with a gun." Scottsdale PD SWAT rolled in within 8 minutes. Grace fired 2 wild shots into the air, screaming about justice and how I'd ruined her life. But the twist nobody expected, the one that turned her final desperate act into her permanent endgame, was this. One of those shots ricocheted off the goalpost and struck her own leg. She dropped the gun, bleeding out on the 50-yard line, while officers cuffed her and medics rushed in. She survived. Barely. Lost the leg below the knee. Got tacked on attempted murder of minors, kidnapping conspiracy, and felony escape. Judge gave her life without parole this time. No appeals. Shipped straight to maximum security in Florence. Carla's contacts got rolled up in a statewide sweep. 3 guards fired, 2 inmates added decades. Today, December 17th, 2025, exactly 10 years after that fateful Charleston dinner, I'm sitting on the back patio of our ranch-style home in Paradise Valley, watching Liam, now a 19-year-old sophomore at ASU, on a full baseball scholarship, tossing a football with Ella, 17 and headed to UCLA for theater, while Sophie, 10, rides her new bike around the pool with Scout barking at her heels. We just got back from a family cruise to Alaska, my treat after closing the biggest deal of my life, a $120 million mixed-use development on Scottsdale Road. Grace rots in a 6x8 cell, writing letters nobody reads. Walter passed peacefully last year, proud of the grandkids he finally got to know. Janet's long gone. She didn't just cheat and steal. She tried to sell a baby, abandon her older kids, frame me for unspeakable crimes, and finally put bullets in the air where her own children stood. Pure evil wrapped in excuses. But we won. Completely. My kids are thriving, happy, unbreakable. They call me their rock, and I call them my whole world. If you're listening to this story right now, maybe on your morning drive down the 101 in Phoenix traffic, sipping coffee on your porch in a quiet suburb of Chicago, walking the beach in Florida retirement, or even tuning in from a small town in Texas or the Midwest. What part shook you to your core? The envelope at that Charleston dinner? The prison plot to frame me? Or Grace storming the school with a gun? Tell me in the comments exactly where you're hearing this from. Your city, your state, even your country. So I can see how far this story has spread and reached hearts everywhere. Your thoughts, your outrage, your relief at the ending. I read every single one. And if these real-life tales of betrayal, survival, and total justice keep you hooked, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. These unthinkable nightmares happen in quiet American families every single day. And the triumphant endings are the ones worth celebrating together.